All right, Tim, thanks for being on the show.
Mike, thanks for having me. This is great, and this is not weird at all. This hot dog right here, not strange in the slightest.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Jeffers, ChicagoJazz.com, and this is episode 94 of Jazz This Week, live at Johnny O's here in Bridgeport. We've got guitarist Tim Fitzgerald. We're going to be talking Full House. We're going to be talking Jazz Showcase. We're going to be talking his gig coming up this Friday at Winters and much more, so stick around. All right, we are back here at Johnny O's. Tim Fitzgerald is here live and in person. He just got off an airplane. He's a very busy guy these days.
That's right.
I'm so glad he made it here. Also, he's nice and tan. Look at him. Looking good, looking good. Now, he's got a gig coming up this Friday at Winters Jazz Club. I'm not sure how many of our viewers know all the background of Tim Fitzgerald and all the different things you have going on. Tim Fitzgerald has a group called Tim Fitzgerald's Full House, which is specifically playing West Montgomery tunes in a very interesting way, right? Ensemble style. And then he's got a book, West Montgomery book, which we're going to talk about, which is throughout the entire world. It's probably one of the defining books on West Montgomery's playing, so we're going to talk about that. And his group is going to be supporting the Chi-Town Jazz Fest coming up March 7th, where he's going to be at the Jazz Showcase. Now, before we get into all the music stuff, let's just a quick run through memory lane here, Tim.
Okay, sounds good.
Now, you actually went to Princeton before you got into the music thing. So how did you, just give us a brief background? You went to Princeton and then you ended up loving jazz so much you ended up going that direction?
Well, the love was there before Princeton. The music, I was obsessed with music, obsessed with blues, obsessed with jazz, but I didn't play because I didn't. But my path was I was at Princeton. I was studying physics and English. I thought I was going to be a jazz journalist.
So were you even playing guitar at that point?
Blues,
Really?
blues, strumming, some folk stuff, some Cat Stevens, some Paul Simon.
Yeah.
But it was a listening thing for me. It was like a deep. It was a deep emotional experience just listening and studying. It was funny when I did end up at music school eventually, Mannes College, little school in New York. I had played less than anybody else there, but I think I had listened more than anybody.
Oh,
because
okay.
I was just but I was at Princeton, and it was time to go. It was like the music was calling. I had to do it. It was great.
Because that's like an intense study that you're doing at Princeton, right? If it's physics and English and
sure,
stuff.
and the build-up, yeah. I mean, I thought, I didn't love the physics the way I loved the music. I didn't love physics the way I loved English. So I thought, okay, I'll be a science journalist, is where I was heading. Another great money maker. This is all about big money. Journalism.
What do you mean? I'm
jazz.
making hundreds of dollars a year doing this.
Well, the CGI budget alone.
These are real French fries, folks.
They're not, folks. This is CGI. This is $25,000 to render this French fry. Okay.
Don't eat it.
I don't want to eat this now. Save this.
So you're originally from Chicago?
From Oak Park and then River Forest. Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So you went to Princeton. So you came back here. Now, before you went to college for music,
yeah,
did you have to learn how to play?
Well, it was a stretch. It wasn't that I didn't know how to hold the guitar. I mean, I was playing some, but it wasn't that advanced.
Well, it wasn't. From a jazz standpoint, it was probably very basic at that point, right?
Yeah. So when I left Princeton, I came back here to Chicago and started, how do I figure this out? Started taking lessons. And then moved back out to the East Coast in a few years later, 3 years later. Mm-hmm. And then then I went to this music school, Mannes, when they were very nice to let me in. They weren't so strict about if you had the right attitude, come on in.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I'll tell you that actually, and that's not even, I met great people there, but the best part about studying in New York was getting to study with Barry Harris.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of my mentors, Rodney Jones, Ed McKecken. There were just some great, the individual teachers were fantastic.
So you were able to actually take private lessons with the cats that you really wanted to take lessons with and learn from those guys.
Right. Well, and Barry's class actually was never private. I was just one of, he was his rotating
okay.
He had a class on the second floor of a saxophone shop. Just opened up. It was one night a week, and he would just go and go. And
it had nothing to do with the school or anything? It was just like a...
Oh, yeah. I think it was amazing. You just said you paid a little bit more the first time, and then you just come in. He got some sort of grant to do it. It was long, like decades. He did it for decades. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, that was the best education I ever got.
So how did you end up coming back to Chicago? If you're already on the East Coast, wouldn't you just stay on the East Coast? That's the obvious direction, right? I
think so, but it was time I needed to work more. I needed to play. I needed to, because I hadn't done that. I hadn't done high school band. I hadn't done all these things, and it was actually Rodney, his teacher Rodney Jones. One of the things he said is like, just go play the Holiday Inn for a while, which is funny. He said Holiday Inn. I didn't do the Holiday Inn, but I certainly did the boats in Navy Pier. I've done all the jobbing. I did a lot.
You started working. Was that when you came back to Chicago that you started doing the Odyssey a lot?
No, that was I caught near the end of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that run. But I did a lot of jobbing, covers, you name it.
Yeah.
Just a lot of playing.
Now I'm assuming that you've always loved Wes Montgomery.
Really always have. He got me early.
Is he like the one that maybe you were listening to before you even went to Princeton? Like that's the guy that you were like, whoa, what is this guy doing?
Of course. Yeah. And then absolutely, because there was just so much. To talk about Wes. Of course, he's a complete badass, right? I mean, it's unbelievably sophisticated and driving, but it's also so warm and like it's just like an embrace. It's got everything, like the emotional nuances of Wes. Yeah. It knocks me out, and did right away from as a teenager.
Do you think? And I'm always curious because I think this way that when you hear Wes, because I love Wes. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the first thing that I ever heard with Wes. Because as a drummer, I don't know all the ins and outs of chord changes and all that at that point. But the first thing I heard was that groove, man.
Yeah.
And it was like no other guitar player I had heard at that time. Yeah. I was like, what is going on? It was just swinging so hard. Is that what caught your ear at first?
I think so. And when I first started listening, I didn't have a language for that. I was like, oh yes, this eighth note feel is incredible. I didn't have that. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but it was the time. And then check this out. There was this. I don't know if you said that. Remember, we used to pass around video cassettes of jazz masters, right? Before YouTube, obviously, before DVDs, there were some cassettes. It would be like, oh, have you seen this? And there were a few guitar ones. And the best one, of course, was this one concert of Wes playing 35 minutes, playing on the BBC TV with Harold Mayburn. And the thing about it was so amazing, because first of all, it was like views of his thumb. It was like, oh my God, I study this.
Yeah.
But then also he would be playing the most sophisticated, beautiful, badass music you've ever heard. And he sort of just kind of smile, look over, and he's like, "Yeah, you hear that?" and it was like, of course, because of course that music would come from a guy like that. Of course, the visual, the warmth would all be there.
Right.
And that was the video that actually led to the book and actually this band and everything. That video was really important.
This BBC, and let's focus on that because this is almost like your entire musical experience at this point. Had been you're learning about music. You go to college, you're learning about that. Then you get into Wes. You're playing here in Chicago. Now you're into Wes. Now you're transcribing the video and you're putting this book together, which is unbelievable. And now you have a band. I mean, he was a real massive influence on you.
He was the love started with teenage years, but it wasn't until my 30s that I was actually talking about this video. And I was like, oh, it's too bad no one's ever really transcribed that. I was like, oh, why? Because the thing is, too, there's a lot of controversy about. I mean, not big controversy, but there's a lot of disagreement about what Wes is doing with upstrokes and downstrokes with the thumb, what he's actually playing fingerings, because he's an unorthodox player. And the thing about the video is it was a chance to be pretty exact. It's like this kind of hard to disagree with a video of him with the downstroke. Yeah. So I was like, because we were always arguing about it or discussing it, it's like, well, wait, I've got some information right here. Why don't I just study this video? And that was about 20 years after first checking out Wes, first falling in love with his music.
What is it? You basically, the entire book is a transcription of that concert?
Yeah, that 35 minutes, exactly, that one concert.
His solos, everything, right?
Yeah, the heads and the solos, the shouts and all the, yeah.
So how long did it take you to put this book together?
Well, it's funny, it was around 2 years of the transcription with the 35 minutes, so I got to know it really well. Because I would go through it and do it, and then by the end, my ears were better, my understanding of Wes was better. It's like, okay, you know what, I need to do it again. So I'd go back to the beginning, do the whole book again, and I would improve it. And it's like, and again, the same thing happened. By the end of the process, it's like, I'm better. I'm hearing more things. I'm getting it more. The fingerings are making sense, and it would do it again. So it took a lot of passes, and finally.
And does it come with audio, or is it just you can just watch the video somewhere
that's
or something?
The idea. Yeah, it's YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, or they have it on DVD now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's this book for? Since we're talking about it, I mean, is it for can a beginner pick it up that loves Wes and get something out of it?
Or sure. There's some. Oh no, absolutely. There's a lot. There's a lot. Well, there's a good question of who is transcription for in general,
right?
And I think it is. It is for everyone, but there are certain. It's a tool. It's also for me. It was it's a tribute as well as a tool.
Yeah.
Like, because I had the choices to make about, it sounds silly, but things like the binding of the book. It's like, I could have saved money on these things, but it's like, no. I want the best, because actually I put it in Mayburn's hands, the piano player from that concert, from the tour, and he loved it. And it's like, and I asked him, would Wes have liked this? And he's like, oh yeah, So, I mean, Wes obviously was not about charts, but not about transcriptions.
Right.
But I think I just wanted it to be, I just wanted
It's homage to him.
Yeah,
man.
I wanted to honor him with it. Yeah, absolutely.
This is it.
Yeah.
The book's out, and they can get it. Where can they pick it up?
A lot of music stores. The best place for me to get it is westmontgomerybook.com.
westmontgomerybook.com. Yeah. What's the name of the book?
Oh, the book 625 Alive, because the concert is Jazz 625, West Montgomery with Jazz 625. So it's 625 Alive, the West Montgomery BBC performance transcribed, which is not a very short title. That doesn't fit on.
It's not exactly like you consulted a marketing team for that.
Yeah. It's okay.
But westmontgomerybook.com, that's
pretty
good. That's a good URL.
Thank you.
See?
I did one thing right.
Now let's talk about the band then, too.
Oh, yeah.
Full House. The name of the band is Tim Fitzgerald's Full House. And isn't it a unique take because it's a larger ensemble, right? Or did Wes have a larger ensemble at some points?
Well, yeah, he did. He did. There's actually some video of him playing with a bunch of horns on that same European tour, including Giant Griffin. But this is different. The point of we play West Montgomery compositions, but one of the points of the band is that we take Wes's solos, because Wes was famous for, among other things, octaves and 4-note chord solos, like 4 notes on the guitar at one time. And so what I've done is taken some of those solos and expanded it to 3 horns and me. So at one point it did sound like Wes was kind of doing a little big band himself, like on the guitar.
Yeah.
And now we've expanded that to trumpet, alto, tenor, and me across the front, playing the West Montgomery solos. And then
you've got a regular rhythm section behind,
exactly.
Or is that organ or something? Or
no,
is
it's bass drums, guitar. Bass drums, guitar, and piano.
Okay.
So guitar is playing more of a front role, and behind piano, bass, and drums.
And you're getting some really good gigs. How long have you had the band?
It's pretty new, and we played Chicago Jazz Fest this past fall.
Right.
Played Deer Park Jazz Fest.
Right.
We're playing at Winters coming up.
Yep.
Playing at the Jazz Showcase. I've played the Jazz Showcase many times and I've attended many times, but I've never played there as a leader before.
Oh, okay.
So I'm really excited about that as well. And Winters, coming back to Winters Friday.
Yeah. So now this Friday at Winters, February 23rd, awesome room. It's an intimate space.
Yeah.
So this is like the place that everybody, if they've seen you at the Jazz Fest, they've seen you in bigger venues because it's a bigger group. I really think that when you're playing at Winters or even playing at the Jazz Showcase in a smaller club with this band, you're going to really start to hear the ins and outs of the music, don't you feel?
Yeah, sure. Winters is a great place for that.
Yeah.
It's a listening room. Plain and simple, listening room.
Right.
So it's like, if you want to listen, it is a great place. And also, it's a good sounding room. They have a sound man. It's got a lot going for it. It's a great place great place to come hear the band for sure.
So now, where can people get an idea about what it sounds like ahead of these gigs? Is it
sure? The band has a website. Okay, how's this URL?
Wow, man, this guy's on fire.
Yes. Well, websites. I'm only about 10 years behind.
I don't think the internet's going away, so I think you're right at the beginning of it. Don't worry, you're cutting edge.
The beginning of the it's fullhouselive.com.
Fullhouselive.com.
Yes.
And of course, Tim Fitzgerald has a website too somewhere?
Yes, which is timfitzgeraldmusic.com.
timfitzgeraldmusic.com.
Full House Live.
Fullhouselive.com and westmontgomerybook.com.
Those are the 3, yeah.
You got you're like a media mogul.
That's right.
God.
Well, it's... Yeah, what am I going to say to that?
Now, every single week, I have to do my 3 picks.
Okay.
And obviously, Friday night would be one of my picks. But I'm going to say that's my 4th pick. Just because I only have 3 picks, so we'll give you that one since it's your gig.
I'll take 4. That's
good.
good.
You got it. I have to do my disclaimer as well. And I always have a disclaimer, Tim, because you know how it is with the legal ramifications of not having a disclaimer on things these days. And the disclaimer is that these are my 3 picks. These are not, by any means, the only shows you should go check out this week in Chicago. There's a lot of great music. But I picked these 3 picks simply because I think that if you are looking for somewhere to go, someone to see, and you're unsure about where to go, you cannot go wrong with any of these 3 picks. Of course, Friday night, you can't go wrong either. So that would be 1 pick, but I have 3 other picks.
I like it.
Now I'm totally confused. All right, here we go. So we're going to kick it off. On Friday and Saturday night, an incredible piano player from New York, Jean-Michel Pilc, is in town with his trio. If you have not seen him, he is one of my favorite piano players. This trio is smoking. I've seen them in New York numerous times. It is Friday and Saturday night, the 23rd and 24th. So see Tim's group on the Friday, and then go check the Green Mill on Saturday night. It is something that you will not want to miss right there in Uptown. Right now, my second pick is at the Jazz Showcase. Incredible local saxophonist. I know you've probably played with Rajiv a bunch of times.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Rajiv, Halim, and his quintet. They're going to be at the Jazz Showcase Thursday through Sunday. And, of course, Sunday, 4 p.m., Joe Siegel's Save the Children matinee right there on Sundays.
All ages.
All ages, 12 and under get in free. And that's on Sunday. But, of course, Thursday through Sunday, they also have the Sunday night shows as well. So check everything out at jazzshowcase.com. It's going to be a great show. Okay, my third pick, we're going back to Winters. Tim's there on Friday. Saturday night, February 24th, they have a great group coming in from New York. It's called the Occidental Gypsy. It is a take on Django Reinhardt's music, and they spice it up, and they add in blues, jazz, and even some Latin flavors. So that's happening at Winters Jazz Club. They're bringing a group in that I haven't heard, but the stuff I've heard online sounds really incredible. So if you like gypsy jazz, Winters Jazz Club Saturday night is the place to be. Is this the first time you ever talked jazz in a hot dog stand?
This is the nicest time I've ever had talking jazz in a hot dog stand.
I think that's a compliment.
Definitely.
Oh, good. Have a fry. And of course, as I always say, hopefully you can get out and see somebody play, go and experience stuff. Go check him out on Friday night. Say hi if you watch this and see him. And of course, if I don't see you and he doesn't see you, hopefully we'll see you somewhere out on the scene.